on this channel, but I hope that you've got some entertainment, but more use, practical use out of what I'd put up here and my journey, my struggles. As you see, it's been a long road, not only from a physical, carnal perspective, temporal perspective, trying to keep myself fit, going through all the rigors of from crazy women to, impure, divisive relationships, and trying to juggle these principles in this very far removed world, right? And we come back to the need to center ourselves and to find why is it important to exercise at all when there's really a greater, larger ontology existent here. And it really is a statement of man, the Ubermensch, the Nietzschean and Promethean torch that we carry, right? And the need to better that, to go beyond that, and to reach back into this place of true existence, where we find that the overman is always this progressive notion back to purity, back to the healthy ego, back in through into production, right? And this statement back into the pure truth of ourselves. What we manifest, what we think about, what we hold within us and dear to our hearts, and even more so, that ganglionic mass behind the solar plexus is to tie in the self, the neocortex, the limbic system, the amygdala. Time is event. The aromatic amino acids displayed, the blood-brain barrier, the coefficiency and the balance between all 9 layers of the human body, and to be able to still come back to an original pure center with a pure source again. So here I struggle through, just as you do, and do my best at supplying these directives as they come to me, and seeing that the interaction with other people is not where your mind should be, right? It should be on bettering yourself, becoming a pure form of your own existence. And if this doesn't mean anything to you, if you're not captivated by this, then you're obviously in another mind and you've chosen another way of being and living. You're not cast out. Nobody's cast out. Whether you think that you are succumbing to the shame of this false paradigm, right? That you somehow fall short, that you think you want certain things, think certain things. You really have to go back and ask yourself this archetype, right? That you've based yourself on, as to whether or not that wasn't fabricated from an existential source from the beginning, right? And really get into the feeling, right? So like what I've been realizing lately is obviously bulking, putting on some mass, and sometimes I feel like I'm going nowhere, and this still small voice in me is saying, dude, feel your bones. Feel that 18 to 22 pounds of your bones. Reach in there and tell me the difference between the muscle and the bone. And then I realize, because I had gotten myself down to a bony 155, nearing 150 pounds, right? Still look pretty good, I might say, for my age at least, right? But we did it. We got all the way down bare bones, so to speak. But as I reach in and I'm feeling my abdomen, I'm feeling nothing but solid core muscle, right? And that's what you got to do, is you have to go in when you're having problems circumnavigating about your life, is to realize that you are going somewhere in the amassment, right, of a lot of crude information, that your motor neurons become bit file this information and become good responders, so that they do no longer need in supply the quantity but the quality of that motor neuron support, right? That direct codified signal, right? That rate coding signal with your nervous system. And you need to be direct, right, in all your pursuits. So we'll be in a little while watching Peacemaker. I think it's the seventh episode, and I think that there's only 8 or 9 episodes total. I think it's 8 actually. We're coming up on the last couple weeks. Not necessarily a fan of John Cena. I know that they had other people in mind. I know Dave Bautista was also somebody that they had in mind for the part, and that he had stated at some point, my son was telling me, that he's glad that John Cena, was picked for the role, because he felt that he was better equipped for that role, right? But you have the effigy, you have the false Ubermensch, the carnal man upheld. The reason that we work out is not to display that the body or the carnal is a statement of the Ubermensch, right? No. The overcoming of time and distance, breakdown and decay, right? That this is only one arm, one attribute in the totality of development, but to come to a place where I am become, where you no longer respond to or give grievance, reference, or energy back to the shame mechanism of being expected to be nothing but a jackass, a donkey. And I've known some pretty good donkeys, and they're not all bad. So when we use animals as a reference point to degrade other people, well, not even they are the lowly, right? You'll find that many animals have more principles than most people. So when you come down to this sort of, you get past the animism and the Jainism, the Neoplatonism, and all these other isms and words and philosophies, and you get back to that pure center or pure core, the pure state of being, where you don't have to be anything else but what you are. And that sometimes that means going back to the time prior to your terrible parents that reduced you and were paid for it, right? Your family lineage that sold off your land rights, right? Many people came to this country under the guise of fleeing a war, such as my family lineage taking place around Pfungstadt, Germany, where they thought that they were getting away from a war that was based around witchcraft. So that's food for thought. But don't stay stuck in your thoughts. Don't get bogged down in the matrix. Know that the pure essence of who you were, maybe prior to your birth, is something that you have to do some soul searching and some seeking, to where you are not a slave, men. You don't owe anybody anything. And that if each of us carry our torch, our Promethean torch, and take back what was taken from us, right, you will find that quickly order will be restored when we're all thinking of a singular mind and not succumbing to the carnal lower states of being led along from the organic aspects of our glandular secretions. We are the masters of our domain. And there is that 10th place when you combine all the 9 layers of the human body. And that 10 is the perfection that only man can state. I am become.